If you've ever been fascinated by those cute and cuddly amigurumi creatures and ever wondered like, oh my goodness, I wish I could make that, but I don't even know where to start. Don't worry, you're in the right place, because by the end of this video, you'll be itching to start your own amigurumi projects. Hey guys, I am Bianca and welcome to Croceniacs, a place for crafters and amigurumi lovers just like you. Today we are diving headfirst in this wonderful world of amigurumi, and I have 7 amazing tips to help you get started into this journey. So let's unravel the magic and let's get it started. Tip number 1. Start with the right materials. I always tell people that you don't need like a bunch of materials to get started in amigurumis. I know we all get excited with this world, we want to purchase lots of different yarns and crochet hooks, but all you need is a new hobby. You don't need another that in your credit card under your name. So talking about my own experience here, I started like in 2015 or 16, I don't remember exactly, but I only had 3 yarn colors. It was red, white, and black because I wanted to create a Pokeball. Yeah, I'm a Pokemon fan, and it was enough. And I remember that I had like a very cheap crochet hook. It was like $2 or $3. It was very cheap, and it was enough. And I kept this crochet hook for, I don't know, 3-4 years. And because in that point of my life, I was taking crochet only as a hobby. So yeah, it was enough for me. I'm super against like purchasing lots of material at once, because probably you won't even use this material anymore and it will get stuck in your house. You won't use it. It will be useless. So yeah, like think about the project that you want to start. Purchase the colors for this project, the crochet hook, and I'm still going to talk about the crochet hook recommended, but yeah, and this will be enough. But going back to the topic that I said, invest in good material. Even if you purchase just a few colors, prioritize a good yarn quality, because otherwise when you start crocheting your amigurumis, the yarn splits because it's not like a very high quality material, and it will give you lots of trouble when crocheting. And since we are talking about yarn and crochet hook, it is totally related to our tip number 2, which is correct combination of crochet hook and yarn. So guys, not necessarily the crochet hook recommended and the yarn label will be the correct one for your amigurumi dolls. So if you're a beginner, I strongly recommend you make a small sample just to see the best crochet hook for the yarn that you purchased, the yarn that you chose. Because for example, I have this yarn which I really like. It's from Hobby, Friends Cotton Yarn from Hobby. They recommend a crochet hook size from 3.5 millimeter, but this is not the size that I recommend for amigurumis. I crochet, just so you have an idea, with a 2 or 2.2 millimeter crochet hook size. That's why I really recommend you test it before you start your project. These are the yarn here that I have in my hands. Is Katona from Shapius. This is also a very famous brand for amigurumis, which I really like. And this one, they recommend a 2.5 to 3.5 crochet hook size. And I usually use a 2.2 or 2.5 with it because I prefer my stitches closed in my amigurumi dolls, so stuffing won't come out of it. This is a very important thing when talking about amigurumis, but we'll leave it for another moment. But for now, what I have to tell you is make small samples with the yarn that you chose to see which crochet hook size is the best one for the yarn chosen. Tip number 3, use stitch markers. I have this beautiful box here. It's from Glover. I purchased a couple of months ago. I traveled to Japan, yeah, the land of amigurumis, and I purchased this box there. It's a very interesting one because they have different stitch marker sizes, as you can see. I hope you can see that. And the reason why I strongly advise using stitch markers is that you won't get lost and you always keep track where you are in your crochet doll. I cannot even count how many times I trusted myself and not used a stitch marker and I got lost because something always happens. I don't know, someone knocked the door, the mailman rings your doorbell. I don't have kids, but if you have, probably your kids will call you and you were there counting, okay, 30, 31, and suddenly someone calls you and you get lost. It's horrible. So you won't even know where you are and how you're going to return point that you were exactly in your doll, in your amigurumi. So always use stitch markers. Even if you're not a beginner and you know crochet by heart, I mean, you know, you're an experienced one and you know the stitches and everything, always keep track using stitch markers. Tip number 4, prioritize cotton yarn. Okay, but before I tell you why I think prioritizing cotton yarn is a good advice, especially for beginners, I must emphasize that this is not a rule, okay? And I'm saying like prioritize, okay? You can use any material that you want to create your amigurumis, and that's totally fine. But especially if you're a beginner and you still haven't found your own way of crocheting, you still don't have like the same tension for all the stitches when crocheting, the cotton yarn can be very, very helpful. It makes it even easier in comparison to other fibers to keep the stitches closed and avoid holes in your amigurumis, which is something that we definitely don't want to. And also because it has no stretch, it helps to preserve the shape of the amigurumi. This is something that I also explain in the video where I teach some useful tips to keep a square shape in an amigurumi doll, or I mean, specifically for an amigurumi head. I'll leave the link here down below so you can check it. And I also talk about how important cotton yarn is for this kind of shape. Nevertheless, it has lots of pros, but it has some cons too. So if you decide to use 100% cotton yarn like Hobby and Katona that I showed you here before, I strongly advise like setting an alarm clock and give yourself a rest from time to time, because since it has no stretch, it hurts a little bit your wrists. For me, it hurts my arm, my shoulders, and I feel like it's heavy in my arms after crocheting for a while. So yeah, I strongly advise crochet a little bit and give yourself a rest, because otherwise you, I don't know, can develop some tendinitis or things like that. We don't want to ruin our crochet career, okay? Tip number 5, practice consistent tension. Achieving consistent tension is like the secret sauce to amigurumi crafting. When your tension is consistent, your stitches are uniform in size and appearance, and you have this polish and professional look in your amigurumis, like my beautiful Santa Claus that I showed you before. And how to achieve this perfect tension in amigurumi? There's only one word to explain it. It's practice. And as I said, there's been a long time that I crochet, and amigurumis, well, I started them more than 8 years ago. So there's been a long time that I'm crocheting, and I'm always studying and trying to improve, learning new stitches, learning new techniques. So there's no other way to get better. You just have to practice. There's another video here in the channel where I show my first amigurumi doll. It was a bunny and it's so ugly. I was very embarrassed of showing him because his ears are not even and the sewing was awful, but you see that I improved a lot because I practiced, and this is the key. I'll leave the link to this video here in the description too, so you can check that later. But all in all, I must say that you just have to practice, and you see that project after project, your amigurumis will always improve. Tip number 6, sewing. And when I talk about this tip, I must say, use pins. I have this box here with lots of different pin sizes. This one, this big one, which is my favorite, and lots of different pins. But this is like a must-have for amigurumi creators. Sewing is the part where usually most crocheters hate doing, and talking about myself, I don't like doing that too. But we have to do it. It's part of the job, and it's awful to sew something and it's not well placed, and then you have to remove it and do it all again. So it's so bad. So really, use pins before sewing everything. It will save you a lot of time. And if you have an amigurumi doll, again, I'll show you my Santa Claus because I'm very proud of him. He's very cute. For example, he has these arms, ears, nose. It was all sewed. So before doing it, pin everything. So okay, so I pinned the first arm. Is it well placed? Okay, pin the other arm. Are they even? And then you sew. Pin the nose, pin the ears. Do this procedure with all the parts on your amigurumi, so you don't have to do it all over again because, I don't know, you placed it in the wrong position. Okay guys, if you like this material, all the tips that I'm giving you so far, remember to subscribe to my channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos that I'll bring every week. Tip number 7, don't be afraid to experiment. It may sound like a very simple tip, but it's very important, and I really wish someone had told me that when I started my journey a long time ago. Don't be afraid to do and undo if needs be. Another thing that I have to say is enjoy the process and be kind to yourself. Don't compare yourself to others. This is something that I did and I still do because I'm always comparing I don't like this. This is not beautiful enough, but this is my journey, and it's really bad when we start comparing our own process with the others. So keep your own pace, think that you're doing this because you want to relax, you want to have this time just for you to concentrate on something that you like. So don't compare yourself to others and enjoy the process because the journey is very beautiful. I really recommend you watching my video with my ugly bunny because don't be embarrassed if your first amigurumis are not flawless. Mine wasn't too, and most of the people that I know had their first ugly amigurumi, and it's perfect okay because after a few attempts it gets better. I really hope you liked this video and all the tips that I brought here today. Remember to subscribe to my channel, and I'll leave this video here so you can encourage yourself by seeing my first amigurumi too. Bye bye!